been amazing. I could make a list of them, pretty impressive. And Chuck Wiggins would be right at the very top. Right at the very top. I don't know of any man that I've ever met that's had more influence on me. I came to faith in Christ when I was about 14 years old, and I grew and I backslid, and I grew and I backslid, and then I held my ground and I didn't go anywhere for very long. But in the last few years, under Chuck's teaching, and that's what he was, Tommy, he was a teacher, a great teacher. I grew so much, and Chuck taught me a lot about living, and a lot about dying. And I'll get to that here in just a second. But I first met Chuck at the counter of Landon Newton's feed store. And we got to talking, and he had that old flat brim hat on, and he got talking about Nevada and Oregon, and come to find out we had worked on some of the ranches, same ranches up there, only about 8 or 10 years apart. And the good Lord had his hand in that. We laughed about it, because if we had rode together, we probably wouldn't be alive today. We'd be in jail or something, we'd be doing a live stretch somewhere. So we had both written those old places, had a lot in common. And then through time, Chuck would come out to our place and we'd visit, and we'd talk on the phone. I mean, sometimes our conversations on the phone, when I would be there in Amarillo, I'd go out and sit in my truck, Tommy. That was my office, because I could hook my phone up and hear him through the speaker. I was not as deaf as Chuck was, but darn near. And we'd holler at each other through my phone line, we'd talk. And we'd call every now and then just to get caught up. And sometimes that catching up would end 2 hours later. And I'd come in, and Lisa would be at the sink and get supper ready, and she said, "So, you been talking to Chuck again?" I said, "Yes, ma'am, I have." But anyhow, those of you all know him know this, his whole focus in his later years was being the most effective warrior, servant of God that he could be, and walking in all of the authority that the Lord had given him. He wanted to finish life good.
Yes.
And so he taught me so much about that, and it's been such a joy. I have 5 sons. I got 5 sons running from 18 to 38 years old. And so I have really enjoyed sharing with them what Chuck has shared with me. As I told them, there's no use waiting till you're almost 70 years old to learn this stuff. You can learn it now. Chuck also taught me about dying. And I prayed for the longest time. I prayed for the longest time that the Lord would restore Chuck back to his health, and he'd be right here among us. Now, that's what R.W. wanted, because I dearly loved that man, and he just enhanced my walk with the Lord so much. But that's what I wanted. And we prayed that way, and we prayed that way. And he was not getting any better. And I remember the last conversation I had with Chuck, and I think Amy might have been in the room. I said, "Well, partner, you're coming to a fork in the trail. Now, one fork you could take would be right back to us, and we'd love that. The other fork takes you right down to the banks of the muddy Jordan River where you'd make that crossing." I said, "You got any idea which one it might be?" bless his heart, he was so weak, but he smiled and he said, I wished I knew, but it's gonna be good either way. That's what Chuck Wiggins thought.